Yo, what is up, everyone? Welcome back to another video. Today, we have the trade deadline, and this is going to be a long video, no edits at all. And right now, it's 2:49. School ended for me at 2:35. I got all the news during school, which sucks because I just can't talk about it, and that's exactly what I want to do. So we're going to be having a little segment here where I'm just going to be shortly talking about all the trades and also potentially getting some live reactions as the trade deadline approaches in 11 minutes. I have all the trades screenshotted right here on my phone, so that's why I'm going to be looking down at them. And then also in the background, you may also have some notifications going off in my live reactions. So anytime I see something happen, I'm just going to pull it up if it's significant. So let's start off first briefly. Last night, I'm just going to go over the one trade we saw with OKC, KZ Okpala for a 2026 second-round pick. And I know some other first-round picks or stuff got involved. OKC gets a good defensive wing. That's about it, but that trade doesn't really mean anything. But first off today, the first trade we saw was a 4-team trade where, in full, the Raptors get Thaddeus Young, Drew Eubanks, and a 2022 second-round pick. The Spurs get Goran Dragic, a 2022 first-round pick, which is protected pretty heavily, and it has been noted that the Spurs are most likely going to buy out Goran Dragic, and the Mavericks are the front runner for that pick. I do think that the Raptors do get a pretty significant turnaround for Drew Eubanks, Thaddeus Young, Thaddeus Johnson. Gordon Hayward didn't play. I think the only thing that's really a bit questionable is that 2022 first-round pick, especially if it's lottery protected, which it most likely won't be. I think the Raptors are going to make the playoffs, so that pick probably will convey. It will probably be around 15 to 22 or somewhere in that range, I would guess. So Spurs get another first-round pick, which is good for them. And then Thaddeus Young and Drew Eubanks. You get two bigs in Toronto, which is definitely something they need because the Raptors have been playing like 6 guys, it seems like, every night. So, yeah, I like that trade for the Raptors. I like for the Spurs. They kind of just flip-flop a little bit right there. I want to make sure I'm not missing anything, obviously. I have notifications on my phone, so if anything important happens, then we'll see. 10 minutes to go. Next trade, we have a 4-team trade. This is one of the bigger trades that happened so far today. We see the Kings get Dante DiVincenzo. Hopefully it actually goes through this time. Trey Lyles and Josh Jackson. The Pistons get Marvin Bagley, which is the biggest piece of this trade, arguably. The Bucks get Serge Ibaka, 2 second-round picks, and some cash. And then the Clippers get Rodney Hood and Semi Ojeleye. So, first off, I think the Kings get another good defensive guard in Dante DiVincenzo. They already have De'Aaron Fox. Obviously, Tyrese Halliburton just got traded. And then this past draft, getting a defensive stud in Davion Mitchell. I like that there. Trey Lyles, good three-point shooter. Josh Jackson. Not much there. Obviously, he has a little defense, a little offense, but we'll see if he gets minutes there. Detroit, getting Marvin Bagley, I really like. Jeremy Grant still hasn't been traded with 8 minutes to go, so we'll see what happens there. I'm kind of expecting a Jeremy Grant trade to go through, but having Marvin Bagley as your 4/center, Isaiah Stewart, is he the answer? I think Pistons get kind of a project player. They have one of the worst records in the league. They're not playing for anything, so why not? You're not giving up much. You gave up, what did you get? Trey Lyles, Josh Jackson, and you're getting Marvin Bagley back? I like that. I think they also gave up a second. That's fine. Bucks get Serge Ibaka. I like that trade as well. Bucks get another backup big, which they really needed, or potentially a starter. We don't know. Brook Lopez hasn't been playing this whole season, so I think having a guy like Serge Ibaka plus 2 second-round picks and some cash is a good trade. Dante DiVincenzo, yes, he's hurt, but, I mean, giving up Dante DiVincenzo is a bit questionable, but in the long term, will it help pay out? We'll see. Clippers get Rodney Hood, Semi Ojeleye. Decent return back for Serge Ibaka. I mean, Ibaka has been battling with a lot of back injuries. They have Zubac. I'm kind of questioning why they did that, really getting a center out of that rotation. I don't know who's going to be their backup center now, they could have Zubac and, what's his name, Isaiah Hartenstein. So technically they're not missing out on much. Rodney Hood, good catch and shoot, 3-ball guy. Semi Ojeleye, knockdown 3-and-D type of player. But overall, I think the Pistons really won this trade the most. I like what the Kings did, I like what the Bucks did, and I like what the Clippers did, basically. So I think everyone honestly did a good trade here. No complaints, really. Next up, we have another smaller trade. PJ Dozier and Bol Bol to the Magic, as well as a second-round pick for a second-round pick. Again, this trade doesn't mean much. Bol Bol is hurt. PJ Dozier out for the season, obviously. I think Bobo could potentially get minutes next season, but again, that trade doesn't really have much significance, except for the fact that Boston's clearing up a bit of salary. Then we have the biggest trade of the season, honestly. The Brooklyn Nets are acquiring James Harden from the Philadelphia 76ers for Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, Andre Drummond, and 2 first-round picks. One of those first-round picks is this year, so it's probably going to be like 25 or so. And then I believe it's a 2027 first-round pick. But the biggest trade is James Harden is now going to be teaming up in Philly with Joel Embiid. He's getting what he wanted. He's getting out of Brooklyn after about a year playing there. And I really like this. I think James Harden and Joel Embiid has potential to be insane. I just want to refresh this just in case anything happens. My boy Click right there making a little memes. But yeah, the Sixers did give up a good amount here with Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, Andre Drummond, and 2 first-round picks. But the way I view it is you're giving up Ben Simmons. He wasn't playing anyway. That kind of just salary out the way, Ben Simmons for James Harden. Sure, that's fine. Seth Curry, yes, he's been great this season. He's one of the best three-point shooters of all time. But you already have snipers in... You have Furkan Korkmaz, Danny Green, if he could shoot. Matisse Thybulle, if he could shoot. You have James Harden, who obviously can shoot. So if you're giving up Seth Curry, yeah, it hurts a little bit. But you're getting James Harden in return. I feel like that's what not a lot of people are understanding. I'm from an area where there's a million Sixers fans. Everybody else around today was talking about James Harden trade big. I don't know. I love it. I love it. We got James Harden. But like Seth Curry, and then like Andre Drummond, we really give up Andre Drummond. I'm like, yes. Bro, you're getting a top 10 player in the league, and you're worrying about Andre Drummond. You're just calling Andre Drummond trash a few weeks ago because all he does is rebound. But now you love him for some reason. You could get another center easily. You could trade a second-round pick and get a center like Derek Favors. You could buy out a center or get a center off the buyout market in free agency. You have Joel Embiid. You don't need to prioritize everything for a backup center. You have Charles Bassey still. You got Paul Millsap in this trade. Paul Millsap could play a little backup center if you really need. Charles Bassey could play backup center if you need. Why would you draft him last year if you don't want to play him? I'm not saying you don't need to have another guy like Andre Drummond as your backup center. Just have a guy that could go in for 12 to 15 minutes every night, get a couple rebounds, box out. That's all you need. But for Brooklyn side of things, I like what they have. Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, obviously, are your 1 and 2 guys. Obviously on the road, Kevin Durant is injured, but I think come playoff time, hopefully he'll be back. Maybe Kyrie will be vaccinated. I doubt it. Hopefully the mandates are lifted. Again, I doubt it. But on the road, I mean, having a guy like Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving to really facilitate, shoot the ball, score the ball, it's great. You still have Patty Mills on your team. Joe Harris, if he's healthy, you still have him on your team. Now you're adding Seth Curry to your team. Andre Drummond to your team. Nicholas Claxton looks to be on the move potentially with some of these first-round picks. So maybe you're upgrading a center here with these last 5 minutes or so we have before the deadline. I really like what they have. I do. I think Ben Simmons is going to be a great fit in Brooklyn. I like this trade for both teams. I really do. Ben Simmons, we haven't seen him play basketball in a long time, almost a year now. Not a year, but probably 10 months or so, 9 months or so. But Ben Simmons, he's just going to be able to be himself, and I think it's going to relieve a lot of pressure off his shoulders playing with 2 superstar guys in Kyrie Irving and KD and Brooklyn. We know Brooklyn's atmosphere. They don't have a lot of eyes watching them every single night. Yes, they are a big market team, obviously playing in one of the biggest cities in the world, but it's not like you're playing in the Garden. We have national TV every night. Brooklyn is not a huge fans aren't going to Brooklyn Nets games at Barclays Center and just being like, "Oh, Ben Simmons is going to get criticized." Joel Embiid and James Harden need to worry so much more about the fans than Ben Simmons does now, and I think that's great for him. Okay, so that was my little Ben Simmons talk for a few minutes. Moving on to the next trade, we have Torrey Craig going back to the Suns, which I like, for Jalen Smith as a second-round pick. I like what the Pacers are doing here, getting Jalen Smith to be another center on that team. I think Goga Bitadze is going to be that secondary center now. If Jalen Smith stays here, or not if Jalen Smith, but if Miles Turner stays here, then this trade doesn't make sense. I fully expect Miles Turner to get traded within the next few minutes or so. If he doesn't, I'm kind of honestly going to be shocked. But yeah, I like that trade for the Suns. Torrey Craig's already played in that system. The Suns were great without him. The Suns were great with him. He's going to fit right in. And then Jalen Smith, yes, he was a good backup center. You still have JaVale McGee, so I'm not really worried about that. You still have Busy. you don't need 5 centers on that team. So getting rid of Jalen Smith, yes, you drafted him at 10, and it was a bit of a surprise pick then because they didn't really need a center. But when he was playing, he was pretty solid. But yeah, Pacers get a good one, and I think Torrey Craig going back to the Suns is a decent pick or a decent trade as well. Next up, we had Derek White being sent to Boston for Josh Richardson in a first-round pick. I don't love this for the Spurs, honestly. I think Derek White is a very good player, especially next to DeJounte Murray, having 2 really good defensive guys. But you're getting back another good defensive player in Josh Richardson, as well as a first-round pick. So, I mean, it's not the end of the world. You're getting a pick. I'm surprised the Spurs are making a lot of, trade deadline moves. It's just not a very Spurs thing to do. But, hey, it's going to work for them, hopefully. And, I think Derek White is going to be an interesting fit in Boston next to Tatum and Brown, because I don't know where he's gonna fit in really on that team, but it's a bit confusing. We just got to trade there. Daniel Tice to the Celtics, so Daniel Tice is about to be back in Boston. I want to see what happens there. I'll pull up that trade just so you guys could kind of get a better understanding what happens, because I think a lot of trades are about to happen within these next few minutes. I don't know why it's not showing up. Let me refresh the page right here, but yeah, there you go, right there. So Boston. I don't know how Derek White is going to necessarily fit in that system, but we'll find out. Having a great guy. He's on my fantasy team. That was the only thing that had me worried a little bit, but yeah, we'll see what happens here. Next trade we have is the Washington Wizards get their center in Montrezl Harrell, and they got a steal. All they're giving up is Vernon Carey, Ish Smith in a second-round pick. Ish Smith is going to be back in back in Washington. I think he did a good job, especially with Spencer Dinwiddie, which we just saw being traded. I mean, yeah, I think Ish Smith's going to get some PT back in Boston or back in Washington, which is going to be good for them. And I like that Charlotte is getting a actual center instead of Cody Zeller or Mason Plumlee like they've had in the past, and he's actually going to be able to defend inside a little bit. Now, stay out of foul trouble. Next, we have another huge trade from the day, which was the Dallas Mavericks trading Kristaps Porzingis to the Wizards for Spencer Dinwiddie, Davis Bertans in a second-round pick. Now, Boston, I genuinely was confused when I saw this. I'm like, what are the Mavericks doing? Why are you trading Kristaps Porzingis? Like, why are you trading Kristaps Porzingis for a point guard in Davis Bertans when you already have Jalen Brunson and Luka Doncic, who I really like, and you're trading for another point guard? That's confusing to me. Especially Kristaps Porzingis has been good this season. He has been injured, but he's been good this season. And then trading him obviously to a team like trading him to a team like the Washington Wizards, who already has Kuzma, who's been great this season. Daniel Gafford's been great this season. I'm confused on why they made this trade. For both teams, honestly, I think the Wizards do win this trade. Obviously, getting off Spencer Dinwiddie's weird contract, Davis Bertans' awful contract. And bringing in Kristaps Porzingis kind of just be a filler player. Again, hopefully this doesn't take too money away from Kyle Kuzma, but we'll see. And then, so that's all the trades that happened throughout the day. And I just saw the trade pop up on my phone about the Dennis Schroeder. So here we are right here. Houston's trading Daniel Tice to the Celtics to be a backup big. I don't know if he's necessarily going to play on that team, especially with Time Lord. And then you have Robert Williams, obviously. And then Ennis Freedom. And then now Daniel Tice. Daniel Tice was a nice player on that team, and I think he might get a few minutes here and there. But Boston is sending guard Dennis Schroeder to the Rockets in that deal. And I believe they are most likely going to be buying out Dennis Schroeder in Houston. I don't see a scenario where Dennis Schroeder stays. I think he's not going to want to play on a losing team. I'll be very surprised to see if Dennis Schroeder stays on that team, to be completely honest with you. It's officially 3:03, so I'm going to give this maybe 10 minutes left of recording just to see if anything happens during that time. But yeah, I mean, Dennis Schroeder, if he does play, I think he could fill up a decent role in that John Wall kind of absence. But I do like the Jalen Green, Kevin Porter Jr. kind of backcourt. And I don't want that to be interfered by Dennis Schroeder. I like Dennis Schroeder, but it's definitely kind of a weird situation. Let's see what else we got here. We have Jeremy Grant remains with the Pistons as the NBA trade deadline ends. Granted, the Pistons have comfortably... Okay, so that's a surprise, honestly. I'm surprised to see Jeremy Grant staying in Detroit. I mean, That was the biggest surprise. I think Jeremy Grant obviously was one of the biggest players to be potentially on the move during this trade deadline. He just got back from injury, and I mean the Pistons I think it's the worst record in the league. They just traded for Marvin Bagley, who plays the 4/5. They have Isaiah Stewart, and Jeremy Grant just doesn't fit that team. He's on a good contract, and Moses Brown just got released to career roster spot. But anyway, that's super besides the point. Jeremy Grant staying on this team is confusing to me, especially in the fact that they don't need Grant. If you want to tank and get a good pick, get a Jabari Smith, get a Paolo Banchero, get yourself a Jaden Ivey, you don't need Jeremy Grant. Jeremy Grant is going to give you a win or two throughout the season. And if you have the opportunity to trade him for more younger players, I don't know. I don't like this. I don't like this non-trade for Detroit. They could have gotten something out of him, and there's teams that wanted Jeremy Grant. I think the Pistons just got a little bit greedy. Obviously, Jeremy Grant, yes, he is one of the top players from this trade deadline that was rumored to be moved. But yeah, so far that's all the trades we have. Lakers made no moves, which was surprising. None of the top teams really made a significant move. We didn't see any Bulls make moves. We didn't see any Lakers, obviously. We saw the Suns make a few minor trades, but nothing significant. Yeah, like Kenny said here, no buzzer beaters, which is a bit surprising. Let's see if we get anything else going on here. We got a Woj tweet here. Hold on. We do have a Woj tweet. And no deal for the Lakers. They'll focus on a buyout market. Okay, so they're going to focus on the buyout market. Let's see what happens. Again, I'm going to record probably till 3:15 or so 10 more minutes. Let's pull up TweetDeck. Let's just to see what people got talking about, or what people were talking about. I feel like gave up too much for the Harden. I feel like Brooklyn gave up a lot for him. I mean, arguably, Terrence Ross, who's getting traded. I'm surprised Terrence Ross didn't get traded at this deadline, honestly. People are not happy with the Dallas Mavericks. Derek Favors. OKC made no trade, so I'm surprised Derek Favors is still here. Kenny Hustle's still here, which I do like. Yeah. Oh, wait, what is this? Oh, Houston is getting Enes Freedom and Bruno Fernando in that deal. Okay, so we just got that. I didn't even see that. I honestly did not see that. So Enes Freedom is going to be going to the Houston Rockets, which I do like. No Christian Wood obviously being traded. So Freedom is going to be going to Houston. Same with Bruno Fernando. So that is going to open up an opportunity for Daniel Tice to be that backup center, which I do like for them. All right, so Dennis Schroeder, Freedom, and Bruno Fernando for Daniel Tice. Dennis Schroeder, Enes Freedom, and Bruno for Daniel Tice is a lot. That is definitely a lot, but I mean, sure, I guess Boston. Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't get. Yeah, that's kind of confusing. Does Bagley make the starting lineup? We'll see. I think right now they will probably run a rotation of Killian Hayes and Cade Cunningham as that backcourt, and then I don't know. Like, dude, are they gonna have? Like, are they gonna have? Are they gonna put that man in the starting lineup? I don't know. Does Bagley start? Like Jeremy Grant as a 3, then Bagley, then Isaiah Stewart. I don't like the sizing. I don't like the spacing on that team. Yet again, it's also the Pistons, and I don't think they're necessarily worried about winning a lot of games. But fine with the Thunder not making any moves besides Zach Powell. I'm surprised with that. Don't be surprised if Sam Presti made no trades. Kendrick Williams is still on the Thunder. I do like that. Yeah, I like that. I mean, I'm honestly glad that Kendrick Williams did not get traded away from OKC. He was a great locker room guy. So yeah, I'm excited that he's still on the squad. Daniel Tice, yeah, we just saw that. Now we're gonna update this to 2K. You're not updating that. That might have been the craziest deadline. Thank you to all the people that came out to the stream. Yeah. So I think that's basically it. I don't think we're gonna get much more. Look at James Harden right there, all happy in that Photoshop jersey. Yeah, I think that's all we're gonna get. No deals for the Knicks, obviously. Yeah, I think that's probably going to be all the trade deadline talk that we're going to get for today. We'll see what happens on the buyout market. Dennis Schroeder might get bought out. Just got to still see what Goran Dragic happens in that situation. But yeah, besides that, I think that's really all we're going to see. Yeah, it was a great great trade deadline. I'm excited to see kind of just what goes on throughout the NBA. James Harden obviously being the #1 player to get traded in this draft, and then probably Kristaps Porzingis second. Montrezl Harrell was in there. Bunch of great trades, and I'm super excited to see kind of just what happens throughout the rest of the season. We're officially in the second half of the NBA season. We're officially past the trade deadline. I don't think any more trades are going to go through, but yeah, if you guys enjoyed this longer, different sort of style video, live reactions, let me know down in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.